Okay, your post Super Bowl power rankings. So at number 10, I'm gonna have the Miami Dolphins coming in at number 10. Miami, they still have a relatively talented team in my books. They definitely have some free agents leaving, especially on defense, and they did collapse near the end of the year. But their offense is still very talented if they stay healthy. Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle's a great duo. And their offensive line, if healthy, is maybe average, and they have a great duo. Um, but Dolphins, I think their injuries definitely dropped them a little bit to number 10, and they didn't end the year good or anything. So I have the Dolphins at number 10. Then number 9, I have the LA Rams. Um, the Rams, they did better than I expected, and they played the Detroit Lions tough. Their defense played really tough against the Lions, and their offense played good, but like I said, they could not get the job done. And I like their team, but like I said, their team could definitely still use some more talent, especially on the defensive side. They could use like one or two superstars. That's keeping me low on the list. And then number 8, I have the Houston Texans. I'm down at number 8. They played well in the playoffs. They played great versus the Browns and played good in the first half against the Ravens. Texans, I just think their team needs a little bit more development. Their defense played okay until the Ravens adjusted, and their offense with CJ, I think it's too dependent on CJ Stroud, so they need to get like a run game going. But other than that, Texans have a really bright future. They just have to develop a little bit. Number 7, I have the Dallas Cowboys. I'm coming in at number 7. Their team is similar to the Dolphins. Their team is still very talented. They have a very good offensive line. Their defensive line isn't bad. They definitely need to get themselves a better running back. Pollard is just not a running back one. Dak is still very good, but Cowboys, like always, they're high on the power rankings, but they cannot deliver in the playoffs, which is keeping me from putting them in the top 5. That playoff performance was horrible. At number 6, I have the Green Bay Packers. Um, at, at number 6, Packers, I think their team is, they played great versus the Cowboys. They played a good game versus the Niners. Definitely like the Houston Texans, a very young team, but I think they do have more um, like veteran players than the Texans. Their defense, even though it wasn't the best during the regular season, they played better during the postseason, and they have guys like Jair Alexander, Campbell, Preston to mix in with the young guys. I think their offense definitely needs a little bit more experience, but they definitely have the talent. Then number 5, I have the Buffalo Bills. Down the end of the year, they played really well. Definitely some defensive injuries, probably keep them a little bit lower in the power rankings. They played okay, but they lost to the Chiefs in the Super Bowl again. And similar to the Dallas Cowboys, they just have to get over that hump. Their team is good, but they just can't get over that hump. And number 4, I have the Detroit Lions. Um, they played good. They played good in the playoffs, but it wasn't exactly against the greatest of teams, the Bucks and the Rams. They're good, but they aren't like super teams. They did play great first half versus the Niners, but I think that inexperienced against the not definitely cost them. Once the Niners got the momentum back, the Lions really couldn't do anything. That Lions secondary still needs work. But other than that, I think the Lions have a very well-rounded team. They have great offensive line, great, good skill position player, and a good quarterback, and they're good at stopping the run. And number 3, I'm gonna have the Baltimore Ravens. Not the greatest playoff performance. They did not do well against the Texans in the first half, and their offense played horrible versus the Chiefs. That Ravens defense still very, very good, and if they can keep them intact, definitely have a Super Bowl window. But that offense played good versus the Texans, but was horrible versus the Chiefs. The number 2, I'm gonna have the San Francisco 49ers. They obviously lost in the Super Bowl. Um, like I said, Brock Purdy, I still don't really trust him in a big moment just yet. And Kyle Shanahan still chokes his lead. That defense, when it matters most, could not hold. They played Mahomes tough for like 3 quarters, and then they've collapsed in the fourth quarter. Still a very good defense, but like I said, Niners just can't play in the big moments against in the Super Bowl. And then the teams that dropped out, kind of, was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They didn't make it to the divisional round, but I just don't find their team that good. Their running game isn't that good. Their offensive line isn't that good. Baker Mayfield's good, but not that good. Their defense was pretty bad. If once you handled the blitz, and the Eagles, they had a worse collapse than the Dolphins in my eyes. They played horrible versus the Bucks. Um, Jalen Hurts didn't do crap. Their defense forgot how to tackle. And number one, you obviously have the Super Bowl champions, the Kansas City Chiefs. What's to say? The Chiefs know how to win in a big moment. All throughout the regular season, their offense didn't look good, but in the playoffs, they were more than enough. Their defense, though, was really the story. They did great versus the opponents, especially in crunch time, against the Bills, against the Niners. They all in crunch time. That defense led the way, and their offense did enough. Kansas City Chiefs are number one because they won the Super Bowl and they know how to win. So there you have it, my NFL post Super Bowl power rankings.